I built a wood farm. Is it very efficient? No. Is it very fast? No. Does it produce a lot of logs? No. Was it fun to just play Minecraft and build a silly farm? Absolutely. You also might be wondering, why did I need the wood farm? And I'm gonna show this a bit later on in the episode. I do have a pretty big plan on what I want to do with this wood, and you might actually know already because of the thumbnail, but I'm gonna show that a bit later on, and we're actually gonna go get cracking to finish the path that we've started in the last episode, because I really want to get that done and actually have a proper access to the end. Also, while I was struggling to actually get as many saplings as I could out of this and actually be sustainable, I had to remove the roof because the really big oaks are actually helping with this, and they're not that bad to cut down. And to show you what I actually got, it's one chest full of logs. I kind of converted these just to kind of see how it works. So from one stack I would get 48 with the bark all over, and then I got 2 rows of leaves. It's definitely not a lot, but I haven't been farming the leaves yet. I just want to get the saplings first, and it looks like it's really working. I got a stack and 11, and I'm actually getting way more than what I have to plant. So I think by planting just the oak over here, I'll be able to actually get much more saplings out of it, and then I'll probably just do another batch where I'm just going to take the leaves out from them, and that's gonna be it. However, while you guys watch me ramble about building the road, I'll be over here and farm a few more leaves, a few more oak logs, and hopefully start this build fairly soon, because it's taken me a lot of time to actually gather what I have over here. And I'm kind of considering to make an automated farm, to be honest. And that is exactly what I did. After trying the farm for a bit longer, waiting for the saplings to decay, it was taking way too long. So I decided to just make a really quick automatic azalea farm. It wasn't really that quick because it took me a while to figure it out in creative what's the best kind of way to do this, because the trees won't form if there's too many blocks around them. So this is pretty much what I came up with. If everything goes to plan, I kind of tested it here, I didn't test this part, but if everything goes to plan, I should be able to just sit in this hole over here, turn on the farm, and then I just mine up, and all the blocks should be falling down in my inventory. So it is a bit annoying that I have to use 2 levers to start this, but I guess it is what it is until I kind of figure out a better way. I could technically run a redstone line in between and it would do the same job, but for the moment this is what I have. I actually took a trip down to my mob farm. I took a lot of bone blocks, so let's drop a few of them into here, and that should give me plenty to run the farm for a while at least. This dispenser up here barely uses any bone meal because it only triggers whenever there's actually something there to bone meal. The one below needs to constantly bone meal this moss block, so that uses a lot of bone meal. But I do have a good bit because the mob farm actually produces a lot, and I definitely want to build a moss farm in the future and maybe make a more interesting farm. This is where I'm gonna test kind of smaller builds, and then I'm probably gonna expand on this. There's obviously a lot that can be expanded on. So let's flick this lever over here. That should kick in the farm. It's actually very loud with the clicking. So like you see here, basically that kind of starts, the tree grows, and then it gets pushed over all the way to that side. There we go again, and then in theory I should be able to just stay over here. Like I said, I haven't tested it yet, but it should be working. I don't really see a reason why not. It should put me in swim mode, I believe, whenever this kicks off. So I will just sit over here, swing my axe, and that's gonna be it. So I will go into camera while I do this. So yeah, here we go, it is working. The question is what's going to happen when the logs actually go on top of me, but it does look like there's no issues actually. So the only thing now is, am I gonna be able to reach the top log? It looks like I did. I don't know if I'll be able to reach the very top one, but that's not too big of a deal. I can always chop that down manually. I know I'm gonna lose a bit of wood, but like you see there, it doesn't really grow as high as I originally thought, but I put the piston there just in case. So the farm is definitely not the fastest in the world because it does take a while for an azalea plant to spawn over there, but I do feel like I can partially AFK here rather than on the other one having to wait for the leaves to decay. And I can also use this as a manual farm too. I don't have to just sit in that hole. I can work both farms at the same time. While this one with the bone meal runs, I can also go and plant the saplings over in the other farm. And also because this is actually producing some seeds, some carpets and all the other plants, I made a composter thing here, and so far I got 5 bone meal, which is definitely not a lot. For some reason there's some chests and hoppers in here, so maybe that's why it wasn't properly working. There's 6 now, so let's drop those in here. That should kind of make the farm working. And actually it got to the end, so I need to make sure that I break these, or else the logs are just gonna stop because there's nothing left to push. We got a bit lucky there, as you might have noticed. There were a few coming in at the same time, so I can definitely do this manually just like this. I don't have to sit in the hole. But I was thinking that whenever I'm gonna have to do something, it's probably gonna be good to have it AFKable like that. I do see a big issue here, and it looks like some of the items actually get shot on this other side. So let's see if putting that log over there would fix the issue. The problem is that I don't know if the azalea tree is gonna grow if there's a log there, because like I said, it does get pretty finicky of what blocks you can put around it and what you can't. So let's wait for an azalea to spawn, and then we'll see if that actually gets pushed over. And here we go, it actually worked. Okay, so that seems to be fixed. I don't see anything else dropping out through here, so that's really good actually. So I think this is actually a much better option than the other farm. I know it uses bone meal, but really bone meal it's rather easy to do, to be completely honest. I could probably get a lot of leaves if I use some shears on this, because I'll need some azalea leaves. I don't know if I need that many, it's mostly oak leaves that I need, but the azaleas are gonna come in handy for sure. Basically I got almost 2 stacks while I was just explaining what I did with the farm, so I'm really happy that it works like this. And it's really low resource, it didn't take a lot of time to build after I figured out how to do it, and it kind of produces some bone meal as well, so definitely doesn't produce enough to be fully sustainable. And it does look like there's some being dropped over here still. I'm gonna have to monitor it a bit more just to kind of see where things are popping through, where they shouldn't be and stuff like that. But as a general idea, I'm really happy. I do have 2 sources of wood now, and it's really nice to finally build some automation. So now all I have to do is AFK a bit longer over here, use the other farm, get all the wood that I need. I probably will need at least 2 double chests full of oak logs. And then once I'm done with that, I'm gonna bring you straight to the build that we're gonna be doing. And I also forgot to say that this actually works as a manual farm as well. If you have flowering azaleas, you just sit here, right click, and then it automatically grows the trees for you in case you have a surplus of flowering azaleas. So I just slept the night away here at my B&B. The nice village B&B that I have near the bridge, just behind it. And I want to let you know that I finished the whole path. I a bit underestimated how much wood I needed for all those fence gates, but I managed to farm it. I got a good bit of farming near at the starter house, and we made it. This is the whole path. So let's take a flyby now with the whole thing fully complete. And once we get to the end, I want to show you something that I have discovered in one of Exuma's videos, and actually makes this look really, really good. So going down, just walking the path looks pretty much like this. It looks really nice. It looks really simple, but also looks noisy at the same time. It looks clean. And I really, really like it how it looks like. Obviously, I'm gonna have to do a good bit of terraforming around here. I want to have this dirt lowered down so no mobs can actually go onto the path, because that's the reason I put the gates and the walls in the first place. And to show you what I meant earlier is this. How crazy is this thing? To see the world from all the way up here, you can see the camera actually wobbling. So it kind of follows my character around, and it's like such a cool view to see this from above. I can zoom out obviously, but it kind of cuts off at the render distance and it kind of messes up the terrain a bit. But it actually is so cool to see the world from this angle. I know that technically I could just go into camera mode, but that camera actually makes it look different. It looks like a bird's eye view. I don't even know how to explain it, but it looks so good compared to the camera. And I think I might be using it every now and again just to kind of showcase how the world looks like. I kind of want to try what Exuma tried and see if I can fly. I don't know how he did this, not gonna lie. I don't know how he did this. I'm falling. Alright, so that's not for me, but it does look fantastic nonetheless. Let's try to climb over on this bridge over here. Okay, I'm here now. Let's activate this. And this is kind of what it looks like. It looks so cool. And to see the village from this angle, like seeing it from above and seeing the farmer village as well. I feel like this angle is kind of the best to look at this. But it's such a cool mod. I think he was saying that B-Dubs actually discovered this and he was showcasing it. So I'm happy that I actually watched the episode. I was really late with Exuma's episode, but I'm glad that I discovered it. So now the next step is going to be to actually start this build that I was promising you and you've seen in the thumbnail. And the first step of doing it is to use the scar method. So I'm going to have to see all the dirt that I have stashed away in any chest that I might have hidden it. For example, this one, I can probably use some grass as well. I don't really see why not. And looking how difficult it actually is to gather all this dirt and grass, I think I definitely need the storage system. But to do that, I feel like I might need a bigger iron farm, and I think I'll definitely need the redstone farm, so that would be a witch farm. So we'll see how many episodes it takes for me to actually build that. I knew I wasn't crazy. I knew I had an additional librarian. How did he actually get over here? I will never know. And now I'm kind of wondering if I had another one somewhere, if this one managed to escape, which is rather curious because I searched every single spot in this village and there's literally no way out. So I would assume that some other villager nudged him and then he managed to get out somehow. I can't really explain it. If there is one thing certain in this game is that villagers are always going to be an absolute pain to deal with no matter what. So after scrambling through all my chests, I managed to gather 2 full shulker boxes of grass and dirt. I have a bit left over here, and there's 1 more double chest over at my base. So I do hope that that's going to be enough to actually finish this whole thing. So I'm just going to start placing blocks, see how I'll manage to do this thing, and we'll see how it's gonna turn out in the end. I know it looks really ugly with the dirt, but once I'm actually going to put in the wood and the leaves and all the other small details like the fence posts and all that, it's gonna look really good. As Scar would say, you just need to trust the process. Also, I kind of wanted to make it slightly bigger, but by going higher, it kind of felt like it's going to overpower the mountain. The mountain is not as tall as you would think, and this tree, just with the dirt as it is right now, it's about 1/3 of the mountain's height, so going too high, it wouldn't look too good in reality, let's say. Even though this is not really reality, I do feel like I want to keep things a bit more to scale, at least in this area. Once we're gonna start building all the farms that we have and we're gonna start building a bit bigger, then we're definitely gonna have the ability to build better, bigger, and more detailed things. I also want to give a shout out to Ete Thumb. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I'm gonna leave his channel name in the description. He's building amazing trees, and this is what kind of got me inspired. I wanted to build a willow over here, but then I stumbled across his channel, and the way he builds trees is absolutely incredible. So if you want to learn more about building trees, go over to his channel, subscribe, show him some love, see what kind of designs he's coming up with. He's building really cool, and he's actually explaining the way he does it. So yeah, thank you for all the inspiration, and I hope if you ever see my video, I hope you're gonna appreciate the tree that I built. To give you a small update, this is pretty much what I have so far when it comes to leaves, and I completely underestimated how many leaves I needed. and I really overly estimated how many logs I need. I barely used like a tenth of all the logs that I actually gathered, and I ran out of leaves so fast that now I'm back to farming leaves, which is a really slow process, especially that I need to make sure that I still have saplings to plant new trees. But regardless, I'm gonna keep going. I want to finish this tree and get the episode out for you guys. So this is about 6 hours later. I was not expecting it to take that long, but it's so slow to actually farm leaves without going to a nearby forest and decimate everything. I'm trying to stick to my rule where everything that I farm needs to be renewable, so instead of going and taking down a forest, I'm planting every tree, taking the leaves, waiting for the leaves to decay, planting them again, and so on, so on, so on. And because of that, it took me another 6 or 7 hours to actually finish the tree, but now it's actually done. So are you guys ready to see this? This is it. Honestly, it looks much more impressive at night, and I still need all the vines and the glowberries to grow. I kind of did a test in a creative world where I increased the tick speed, and it's going to look really nice after it's completely grown down. I'm probably gonna have to clip some of them because some of them are reaching really low and it kind of feels a bit crowded. And also I have a really nice idea where I will probably try to get some firefly bushes, try to hide them around here, maybe even keep them on the surface. I feel like they would look really nice if I put them close to the water, and then maybe even try to get some spore blossoms, try to hide them like within the trees and stuff. I feel like they would add a bit more atmosphere around the tree, because as good as it looks just with the leaves particles right now, I feel like it could look much better. But I'm really happy how it turned out. It took so long, but I'm glad that I spent the time. And now that I kind of learned how to build a custom tree, I know that I need to go bigger, like much bigger. Something that I realized with my builds is that I kind of go really small, so it's hard to add a lot of detail. This tree kind of has the same problem, because if it would have been bigger, it would have looked much nicer, but I couldn't really make it bigger because then it would just overpower the mountain. So I kind of have to keep it at the scale that I currently built around here. And then the more I expand the world, I'm going to try to build bigger builds so I can add more details and make the world the way I actually imagine it. So yeah, if you guys have any other suggestions that I could add to the tree, do let me know down in the comments. I would be more than happy to put them into practice and add a few more things around here. Obviously, I'll probably have to terraform around the tree a bit because just this plain grass looks really boring. So maybe I'll try to add some moss or try to do a few bits around here just to kind of make it look a bit better. Maybe I'm gonna add some more of these drip leaves. It's gonna look really nice around the tree. Definitely gonna add those fireflies once I manage to get them. Maybe use some of those new bushes that got added. I feel like that could add a lot on the terrain around here. But yeah, it took me a very long time to finish this episode, and I hope you guys enjoy it. And I hope you guys enjoy the tree as much as I do, and you actually trusted the process to actually get where we are right now. I know at the start with the dirt, it didn't really look like much, but now that I actually finished putting everything down, and once the vines are gonna grow, you're probably gonna see that in the next episode how it fully looks like when it's grown. But even just looking at this, you can see how the light shines through the branches. So that's actually a really nice thing that I managed to incorporate into it, because it kind of needs to have some light going through the branches, and I'm really happy actually that I'm on this angle to be able to see this now. But with that, I think it's time to close off this episode. So as always, thank you for tuning in. I do appreciate all your support. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and share your thoughts below. And if you're new here, consider subscribing. Until next time, happy crafting!